Have you ever wondered what happens to your garbage after it is taken away by a disposal truck? Most people think it is dumped in the middle of nowhere, or even stored under the ground, which is not the case. I'm about to explain what really happens to your garbage, specifically if you live in New York City. According to The Guardian, which is a daily British newspaper, the city generates more than 14 million tons of garbage per year. Since there is so much trash, it is required by the law to be separated into categories. The trash is separated into paper, metal, glass, plastic, or even mixed solid waste. According to the Waste Advantage magazine, the city has a complex waste management system. This system was formed because around the mid-1900s, the main method for disposing garbage was to throw it in the ocean. It got to the point where around 80% of the garbage that was collected ended up in the sea. This was drastically affecting the environment around the city, which was why this system was put into place. The system included 2 agencies, which also included 3 modes of transportation: trucks, trains, and barges. The system also included 1,668 city collection trucks and 248 private waste hauling companies. The city also had a commercial and private business sector that handled the collection of waste differently from one another. The private business collection of waste did not come out of the city's budget, while the commercial collection did. The reason why was the waste that was used in the commercial processing was used in construction projects throughout the city, and those would cost a lot of money. So what happens to the garbage that is not used for trade, artificial land, or construction? And where does it even all go to? Most of the garbage is collected and reused. 80% of it will end up at a landfill, while the remaining 20% will end up at a waste-to-energy plant. However, that is only for the solid waste. The material that was recycled throughout the city would end up going to local raw material processors, exported overseas to places like China or India, or sold directly to their end users. For example, the Coca-Cola bottles would be fixed and then sent back to Coca-Cola for reprocessing. So how is this garbage transferred from the streets to its final destination? Every day in the city, public garbage trucks collect nearly 70,000 kilograms of solid waste. The waste that was collected by these trucks will eventually be put onto trains and are carried as far as 600 miles away to their destination. In an article by Michelle Cohen, an interviewed sanitation worker that worked in New York City stated that even though the city has a large system that can come in handy, they still had to go back to certain destinations throughout the city, like specific streets, and had to collect more garbage 2 to 3 times a day. New York usually reuses a good amount of what they collect for trade and to make artificial land, but they can only use it for specific kinds of garbage. That is why it is important to separate the different kinds of garbage you have, because you never know, it can be reused for good. That is why it's good to recycle, put bottles into recycle bins instead of the trash. So since you know what happens to most of the garbage in New York City, what will you start to separate yours at home for the better?